What's going on, everyone? We're back for another We're Racing video. Sorry it's been a while. I've been keeping quite busy. Hope you're all well. Really looking forward to this race. I must say the Bahrain Grand Prix is going to be really interesting. This is where we're going to get a true reading of who is where on this circuit and who's really good, like who's got a good race car underneath them. We expect Ferrari to be resurgent and to put themselves in a prime position to really take advantage of the Mercedes if there is any issues with them. I think there will be a straight fight for the pole position between the Ferrari and the Mercedes. Whoever comes out on top is yet to be seen. We saw in practice one today, Charles Leclerc topping the timesheets, really coming out the box pretty fast, and was quicker than his teammate by quite a margin as well. Looking at second practice classification, where we saw a bit more true reflection in terms of race pace, because it was in the dark. The track temp had dropped a bit, and the ambient temperature, of course. Sebastian Vettel, he topped the timesheets to 128.8, and he done a 32 laps in that practice session. Sorry, Charles Leclerc, he was just behind. He got 128.881, so very marginal there, 0.35 of a second, which is like very marginal. Lewis Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas are coming up just behind him in third and fourth for 129.4 for Lewis and 129.5 for Valtteri. So quite respective times from. We saw Lewis Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas putting in some of their fastest laps as well on the yellow tyre, where we saw the Ferrari, it was really concentrating on engine modes. We'll get onto that in a minute. Binotto has been saying basically that he thinks the gap created of like 0.6 of a second is quite down to what they're running in this practice session. Is basically they've been up in the engine modes compared to their rivals, and come Saturday we expect the likes of Merc and even the Honda powered cars to really turn up the wick, get Strat 9, 10 Quali, really drain the battery, really get the maximum out of the power unit, and then it will be interesting to see where the Ferrari are going to shake out. What's your thoughts and opinions? Where do you think Ferrari lie in terms of this pecking order for this year? They look like they've got a great car when it comes to Catalonia. Very similar like circuit in terms of like demands as well to this circuit compared to a street circuit, for instance. So I expect Ferrari to have a good showing. I do expect to see the Red Bulls, the best of the rest, you would say. I don't see them touching Ferrari or Merc. I think they'll have a bit too much pace, but you never know with strategy. If there is an undercut and it calls the likes of Lewis or someone else in, you could see them getting the mix, the Red Bulls. However, if it's straight out pace at the minute, I don't think they're right there. I hope they surprise me. Let me know your thoughts on the Honda. Do you think they're going to perform any quicker? Now, another thing which is going on after the race is we're going to have a test session. So we're going to see some of the young drivers have their chance to cut their teeth in their Formula One car. And none other than Mick Schumacher will be in the Ferrari for the first day of that test. And what an opportunity, what a privilege it must be for Mick Schumacher to jump in there. Remember, he is making his F2 debut in Bahrain, I believe. So that's some feat in itself. And then he gets the chance as well. I think it's in Barcelona. I'm not sure if he's driving it this week as well. Is the Alpha. He's going to get a chance to be in the Alpha as well. So he's going to get plenty of track time, which I think he needs for his license for the future. They're building him up to come into the sport, which is great to see. The Schumacher and Ferrari alliance once again. Let me know your thoughts on that. Has his name given him this opportunity? Definitely, yes. I think it is compared to another German kid, for instance. I think it's definitely favoured towards him. But of course, it's a nice thing considering with what happened to, Michael. And God bless him. Hopefully, he pulls through. But it's not looking good, is it? To be honest. Now, what do we know about Binotto? He's been propelled into this role in Ferrari, and it's quite big shoes to fill. We've seen with Arriva Bene and all his predecessors, where they've really had, like a tough time when it comes to Ferrari in the setup. But it could be like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer with football. If you lift the mood, get the right atmosphere around the team, it can really be infectious and it could really rub off on everyone. And they could have a championship winning team, for instance. So let me know your thoughts on Binotto, how he's going to handle the situation, the dynamic. We've already seen it between Sebastian and Charles Leclerc. Leclerc saying he'll play the team player sometimes, but on other occasions, no, he definitely thinks Ferrari should favour him if he is, of course, out qualifying and out racing in terms of pace, strategy, for instance, and to let him past Vettel. So let me know your thoughts. Are Ferrari going to give Charles Leclerc room to race and to really express himself within that team? I really, really hope they do. It's going to be telling these first few races how Vettel is performing, and if he can get a win under his belt, then I think Ferrari will like throw the win behind him, for instance, and really try and propel him to that title, that elusive fifth title at the minute. We went a bit off topic there. Talking about rookie drivers again. Dan Ticktum, he's going to get a chance in a Red Bull later in a test, we've heard. So that's great to see another rookie coming up through the Red Bull ranks, really representing nicely. So looking through the timesheets here, it's Robert Kubica who brings up the field in 20th place. Not a real good run here, 4 seconds off the pace. Really far behind. We got George Russell in 19th for 1:39.9, second quicker than his teammate, which is quite telling, you would have to say, in terms of pure performance. George Russell, remember, he's got not much mileage under him, so he was really dominating Kubica, and it's not the same Kubica that we once knew. He's really like handicapped, so it's still an achievement in itself to see Robert there, and we hope he can improve, really challenge George when it comes to racing, see them two scrap it out, and that'll give George some good racecraft up against a legend like Kubica. Giovinazzi, very disappointing. He was 18th overall, 131.1. Lance Stroll with 131.1. Kimi Raikkonen, quite disappointed with that session. He must be 16th overall, 131.0. Didn't really have much running. There's been some issues in terms of water leaks on the Alfa Romeo, and that's really costing them in terms of understanding their car, setting it up right, getting the right race sims, etc. So watch out for that. Danny Ricciardo, again, disappointing, 15th overall, a 130.8. So I think Renault, they've got some concerns over these cars, the power units, how they're going to look in quali and the race. Let's see. We hope Danny Rick has a better weekend than he had before. You can see his teammate up in 5th position, just showing true potential in that Renault car, 129.6. Again, running the softest of the compounds to get that, I believe. And he was only 0.8 off pole, not pole position, the first, which was Sebastian Vettel there. Coming back down, we had Sergio Perez 14th, Alexander Albon, pretty solid from him, a 130.4. Really getting to grips with the car. Now he's at that shock factor, like shaking out of him, getting on a proper circuit, which is less bumpy. Expect to see him going very well. He looks like a great talent. 13th fastest. Pierre Gasly, pretty disappointing, considering he's driving a Red Bull, down in 12th there. Carlos Sainz in the McLaren, 11th. Danny Kvyat, very impressive there, 10th fastest overall. Romain Grosjean, 9th. Lando Norris, 8th, very impressive there. K-Mag, we expect them to be up there again. The Haas's, he was 7th overall. Then we had Max Verstappen in P6 in terms of lap times. Nico Hulkenberg, P5. Bottas, pretty solid performance, not far off his teammates. They've been exchanging blows throughout these practice sessions. Lewis Hamilton just managing to creep ahead of him after the earlier practice session, and then got 3rd overall. Then it was the 2 Ferraris, and the Ferrari looks like it's running a lot more aggressively and wanting to understand their car at full tilt, what it's capable of and what it's going to give them back in terms of feedback. I think they really need to understand that car now, because even Barcelona, everyone was sandbagging a bit. So expect them to do well. I do expect it to be between the Merc and the Ferrari boys, like I said. Who's going to get pole position? I'll put my money on Lewis Hamilton, I would say. It could be Sebastian. It's a very tight thing. I'd love Charles Leclerc or Bottas to pop out with a pole position. That would be great to see for the sport. What the driver's saying, Lewis Hamilton believes the Ferrari are ahead after they dominated FP1 and FP2 in Bahrain. But the Mercedes says, the Mercedes driver is saying that he's going to make it a tough battle. He believes in his car. He knows what he's got under him. And he's going to take it to the Ferraris like he did last year. And take it from Mansell. Sebastian. Sorry, it's that moustache. Yes, it's going to be an interesting dynamic, how it's going to play out. I do expect Mercedes to just edge it out compared to the Ferrari. Let me know your thoughts and opinions. It's going to be interesting about these tires. These tires are different. The teams are really struggling to understand them, and they're looking like, coming out of the box, doing a pit stop during the race. It's going to take a lap to switch the tire on. They're not going to come out and, be able to hammer it and get hammer time down straight away. So watch out for that. That's why there's going to be a lot of interesting dynamics in terms of undercut. Like, you really need to bolt away like Valtteri did in Melbourne, and really get that gap, and then you're pretty much covered. Like if someone pits, you can cover them off very easily. So that's going to be interesting when it comes to this scrap here. I'd like to see Charles Leclerc really challenge these two boys and make a sandwich in between them. Let me know who's your favorites and who you expect to come out on top. Here we go. We got Valtteri. Said it looks like it's going to be very close between us and Ferrari. They're clearly faster around here than they was in Melbourne. And we expect it to be like that. We expect some tracks to suit different cars. We expect the Red Bull to be good around Monaco. We expect the Merc to be good, around Albert Park traditionally. So, yeah, interesting to see. And we could see a Ferrari win. Don't really count that out. I think that they could be right up there. Sebastian Vettel's basically come out and said that obviously today was a good result, but there was probably on a different strategy, probably referring to Mercedes and the Red Bull boys, to other people. So he wouldn't pay too much attention to that. I think tomorrow they still need to improve. Mercedes looks very quick, so they expect them to be challenging for the pole position. The result is one thing, but you still need to work on the things that we can improve. That's the feeling I had inside the car. For sure, it was better than Australia, but there's still more in the car. Then I think if we can unleash that, then we are in a good shape for tomorrow, and hopefully we can be a lot closer, put Mercedes under pressure. So they expect Mercedes to be very strong in qualifying, also keeping an eye on the Red Bulls. They look very strong in the corners today. I think they can be very close. So yeah, interesting. The Red Bull's going to be able to attack through the corners. You're going to see the likes of the Merc, for instance, be able to really attack on the straights and into them deep braking zones. So yeah, what do we think on Ferrari? What are their chances in this race? On the cooling issues in the Alfa Romeo, Kimi Räikkönen said that he had a coolant leak in the car. They managed to put it back together, but it was too late for him to get back out in FP2. So a bit of a concern there that they weren't flat out to get it done in time, but unfortunately he didn't get much running. So onwards and upwards for Saturday. Thanks for watching another We're Racing video. I'll join you again soon after the quali session tomorrow. Bye-bye.